Roman Reigns was shockingly pinned by Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel 2024. However, the setbacks didn't end there for the original tribal chief, as Sami Zayn accidentally attacked him in an attempt to rescue the OG bloodline. Originally, the 40-year-old star arrived after the match to stop Solo and his faction from brutalizing Reigns' bloodline. While Zayn initially pretended to side with the new bloodline leader, he instead launched an attack on Solo. Unfortunately, his misfire on Roman Reigns is likely to create further distrust, making Reigns hesitant to accept him back, especially after this incident. However, Paul Heyman may be the one person capable of persuading the original tribal chief to consider bringing Zayn back into the OG bloodline. Paul Heyman is the most trustworthy man for Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns has always placed great trust in Paul Heyman, evidenced by Heyman's role as the wise man in the bloodline. Whatever guidance Heyman provided, Roman followed without question, making Heyman's strategic mind a key factor in Reigns' historic undisputed WWE title run. This loyalty suggests that if Heyman counsels Roman upon his return, the OTC would likely heed his advice. Here, the Hall of Famer could explain that reuniting with Sami Zayn is crucial for the OG bloodline, as his alliance could be the key to overpowering Solo Sikoa's faction. With Heyman's counsel, Reigns might ultimately agree to bring Sami Zayn back into the fold. The perfect way to have Paul Heyman back on television. The Wiseman has been absent from WWE television since he was ousted from the bloodline by Solo Sikoa. With Roman Reigns now facing defeats and disadvantages, this could be the perfect time for Heyman to return on Friday Night SmackDown. Here, the special counsel would act as the savior for the original tribal chief. Heyman could persuade Reigns to bring Sami Zayn back into the fold, arguing that aligning with Sami is the only way to counter Solo Sikoa's dominance. Given his struggles against Solo, Reigns might be swayed by Heyman's counsel and ultimately agree to reunite with the former bloodline member. Paul Heyman has seen everything from a viewer's POV. All members of the OG bloodline were involved in the post-match brawl where Sami Zayn accidentally struck Roman Reigns. Because of this misfire, Jimmy and Roman now view the attack as intentional, with Jey Uso being the only one attempting to clarify the situation. However, Paul Heyman remains the one member of the OG bloodline who witnessed everything as a neutral observer. He knows that Sami Zayn never intended to hit Reigns, and it was purely accidental. With this perspective, Heyman can convince Roman of Sami's innocence more effectively than any other member of the OG bloodline. The atmosphere in the WWE locker room was tense. Roman Reigns, the reigning tribal chief, sat in his corner, surrounded by the shadows of his empire. The bloodline had become a force to be reckoned with, but lately, cracks had begun to show. The absence of Sami Zayn had left a noticeable void, and Paul Heyman's recent departure weighed heavily on Roman's mind. While he had initially dismissed their absence, the reality was setting in. He missed his brothers. But how could he admit it? The sound of boots echoing against the polished floor broke his reverie. Roman looked up to see a familiar figure walking toward him, exuding an air of confidence that instantly drew the attention of those in the room. It was none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a man who had transcended wrestling to become a global icon. His mere presence seemed to command respect, and everyone in the locker room fell silent. "Hey, Roman," The Rock began, a playful grin on his face. "You look like you've been chewing on a sour grape. What's going on, brother?" Roman leaned back, crossing his arms. "I don't need you here to tell me how to run the bloodline, Rock. We're doing just fine." The Rock raised an eyebrow, the smirk fading slightly. "You think you're doing fine. You've got your cousins loyal to you, but you've lost two key players. Sami and Paul are gone, and you're acting like it doesn't bother you. But we both know it does." A flash of annoyance crossed Roman's face. "What do you want, Dwayne?" "I want to help you see things clearly. You're at a crossroads, and you need to decide what kind of leader you want to be. You want to keep going down this path of isolation, or do you want to bring the family back together?" Roman frowned. They left. Sami betrayed me, and Paul. He was just a mouthpiece. I don't need either of them. The Rock stepped closer, his voice dropping to a serious tone. Roman, Sami was your brother. You know that. He stood by your side when the going got tough. You two went through hell together. And as for Paul, he's one of the greatest minds in this business. You can't just toss that aside. Because family matters, The Rock replied, his eyes locking onto Roman's. I know better than anyone that the business can get ugly, and it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. But you've got the chance to bring Sami and Paul back. You just need to be willing to reach out. Roman looked away, the internal conflict brewing within him. He knew The Rock was right, but admitting that felt like a weakness. After all, he was the tribal chief. And what makes you think I can convince them? Because you're the tribal chief, The Rock answered with a grin, the confidence returning to his voice. You've built this empire, but empires don't just run on strength. They run on loyalty, love, and family. You've got to show them you're willing to bring them back into the fold. The thought of it stirred something deep within Roman. He knew he needed them, but he also had a lot of pride. I'm not going to beg, Rock. I'm not saying you should. Just show them that you're willing to put aside your pride for the greater good. You need to lead with your heart, not just your fists. With those words hanging in the air, Roman began to ponder his next move. He realized he had two options: continue down the path of isolation, or take a leap of faith and mend the broken ties. As he considered this, he could see the wheels turning in The Rock's mind. Let's do this together, The Rock suggested. Let's make a call to Sami and Paul. I'll back you up. Roman nodded slowly. All right, let's do it. Later that evening, the trio gathered at a private gym, the atmosphere filled with the sounds of weights clanging and echoing off the walls. Sami Zayn arrived first, his face a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He hadn't expected to hear from Roman or The Rock again. Roman, Sami greeted, trying to keep his tone light. What's this about? Roman took a deep breath, the weight of the moment pressing on him. I wanted to talk about the bloodline. Sami's expression shifted, curiosity piqued. What about it? I thought I was out for good. Things have changed, Roman replied, glancing at The Rock for support. I need you back, Sami. The bloodline isn't the same without you. I can't do this alone. The Rock interjected, Sami, you know what you brought to this family. It wasn't just loyalty, it was heart. And right now, that's what Roman needs. Sami's face softened as he considered Roman's words. I did betray you, though. How can we go back from that? Because I want to move forward, Roman said firmly. I want us to be whole again. As the tension lingered in the air, the gym door opened and Paul Heyman stepped in, his usual swagger replaced with an unexpected vulnerability. Did someone say my name? He quipped, but his eyes revealed he was serious. Paul, Roman acknowledged, surprised to see him. I didn't expect you to show up. Neither did I, Paul admitted, crossing his arms. But I heard some interesting things. Are we really talking about reuniting? Yes, Roman answered. I need you both back. We're stronger together. Paul glanced at Sami, and a smirk crept onto his face. If the tribal chief is asking for help, how can we refuse? Sami laughed, breaking the tension. Guess we're all in this mess together, huh? The Rock stepped back, observing as the bonds began to mend. He could see the spark returning between Roman, Sami, and Paul. This is what family looks like, he said, pride evident in his voice. Yeah, Roman agreed, feeling a weight lift off his shoulders. We're family. Let's show everyone what the bloodline can do together. As the three of them came together, the room buzzed with a renewed sense of purpose. Roman Reigns had taken a monumental step, bridging the gap and welcoming his brothers back into the fold. The bloodline was ready to rise again, stronger than ever. In that moment, it was clear. No one else could have done what The Rock did. He reminded Roman of the power of family and loyalty. The the true strength of the bloodline.